This is my thoughts on the anti-ordinary response to the Deconverted Man video, which was a response to some kerfuffle on social media or something. I won't respond or react to the entire 2-hour response, so I'm going to select what I think are important or maybe the most contentious parts of it. Fair enough? Okay, so Anti-Ordinary shares a video about some religious woman or something on Facebook. I don't think that's very important, but here Anti-Ordinary explains the crime of the deconverted response.
But the point of the video was the women just saying, you might not consider her a man, and you might not consider her a woman because of X stereotypes in women. And it was pretty much just a bullshit empowering video that I did not really think much of and just shared it to my Twitter, to my Facebook. So then Deconverted Man responded with something along the lines of, if you have a penis, you're a man. If you have a vagina, you're a woman. If you can show you have the brain of a gender, then okay, but what was it? But don't call yourself something you're not, or something along the lines. And this is all live. I just got out of bed. I just saw it on Twitter, so I'm not prepared because I'm just going to respond to his video.
So right off the bat, I agree. Deconverted Man got it wrong. If you have a penis, then you are a male. If you have a vagina, then you are a female. And here's why he's wrong. A man is an adult male and a woman is an adult female. Just having body parts doesn't make you an adult. Jeez, Deconverted, I thought you were the king of logic here. But before I get more into this video, I want to be upfront about my bias. I happen to believe that Deconverted Man's original thoughtful video on the subject, there it is, links below in the description, was well reasoned and contained logic. But more important than all that logicky stuff is his desire to want to have an honest discussion. And here is Anti-Ordinary admission of bias.
But just know that I have a bias towards Deconverted Man because of how frustrating I found working with him on such a simplistic concept was. So I already have that bias there. Doesn't mean that I dislike him, it just means I have that little, I don't know how to explain it, but that little...
No need to explain, you already told us, it's bias.
This is my narrative in regards to my upcoming talk with Anti-Ordinary that will be on the Godless Craniums channel on August 18th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to make a number of points here, and I have a script that I've had a lot of people look over and give me ideas about and advice on. I value all of their input. Thank you all for your time and energy to help me to make this as best as I could make it. Point 1. I might have had a misunderstanding between sex and gender.
Might. So you might have, even though you acknowledge you did have, that seems to like reduce how much you were wrong, because you were just flat out wrong, Mr. Logic.
Being condescending to Deconverted Man isn't going to score big points on this end. However, these are bullet points. You're arguing against bullet points.
Point 2, biological sex is one phenomenon and gender is being stated to be another sort of phenomenon.
Notice he says being stated to be another phenomenon as though he doesn't agree with it. So maybe he's going to provide some argument against science, but psychological and medical science hold my position. So we'll just see, because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've held the wrong position all this time.
Maybe you have been wrong all along. Biological sex in humans, with the exception of extremely rare examples, is a binary. You are either male or female. We are a sexually dimorphic species. Males are generally this and females are generally that, meaning most, but not all, men identify and behave like men, and same with women. And no, you haven't made this argument yet, but this issue with gender, the expression of the attributes of biological sex. I'll simplify what science and psychology have to say. Most people identify with the gender that matches their biological sex, meaning the sex they were born with, not assigned at birth, not socially constructed. And I know you didn't say that. When he says that gender is being stated as another sort of phenomenon, there are many opinions that range from what some people refer to as gender dysphoria to transvesticism, transtrenders, or even gynominicis. Gynominicis. I don't know how to pronounce it. The denial of the biological reality of sex is a political agenda. For every link to an article you want us to read that supports any view you have, there are links that contradict them. That is not to say that either is correct or incorrect. It is to say that it is easy to find an opinion based, or we hope that is based on science, that supports our perspective.
Point 3. I formally withdraw my original post and retract it in full. I made 2 logical errors.
Oh, isn't that nice of you? Insult me, but then retract that so that you think it won't be used against you. But we have to keep in mind where this whole discussion stemmed from. This whole discussion stemmed from a petty comment by you for no reason on an inspirational post telling people like me that we are man and to stop calling ourselves things we are not. I don't know, maybe I'm being a super triggered snowflake, special little snowflake, but that seems like an insult, telling me I'm just calling myself something I'm not, based on biology, but then you've acknowledged that that's not what it's based on. So okay, let's keep going. 1 minute 33 seconds in. Amazing.
In that post, which are straw man and mind reading. And point 4, and this is perhaps the contentious point, I will call someone a trans man or a trans woman or a transsexual, but not fully woman or man outright. And this is due to my own view, my ethics and logic, and my feelings on.
Notice he threw logic in there because anything other than that was just his feelings on there, except feelings don't matter, do they, Lobster Boy? Let's keep going.
This matter.
Okay, so I had
a lot.
Right.
Logic and my own view.
Okay, yeah, so the point of, I'm not going to call a trans woman just a woman, I'm going to call her a trans woman. Fine. Who cares? Like, some people out there probably do care. I will admit that. But, like, I don't give a fuck and you're talking to me. So, yeah, if you want to call me a trans woman, perfectly fine. That's what I am. You didn't do that in your initial comment in which this whole discussion spurred from. So, okay, I accept that. It's not contentious to me. I am a trans woman after all.
This is a lot of words coming from anti-ordinary when, 1, this is still only bullet points. 2, he's taking back the statement that is the subject of offense. And 3, most importantly, you don't seem to mind being referred to as a trans woman.
You addressed me. You insulted me. So why are you now talking in vague terms? And I know when you insulted me, you kind of insulted everyone. So that's a pass. But I just feel like, how much is this video achieving? You're saying stuff, but you're not even encompassing the whole thing. I think if you were going to make a 30-minute long video, why didn't you just get the evidence?
You take what he said as an insult, but it wasn't intended as an insult. I kind of agree with you here about what the video is achieving, but remember, it was, in my opinion, an earnest attempt to express his thoughts on the issue. But what is simply just funny is that you've taken up 2 hours to tell Deconverted Man that science isn't on his side and he's not talking about what you said. If Dan Green, aka Deconverted Man, aka the King of Logic, took too long to get his point across, then it seems you do not have the gift of economy of language either.
You're just upset that you said shit that people disagreed with enough to unalign themselves with you. Maybe you should consider and think about what you say to who you say those things to in the future. Like, I don't just go around calling people what can be considered an insult, because it's a dick move. And I don't like Dave Rubin. I feel like he's just a fucking yes man to everyone. You're not monetizing this video because it'll make you look even more like a cunt than you already do. The video is entitled "Pester Drops Raw Truth Over Homosexual Cake Baking Nonsense. Please share this." Like, dickhead. No, that's just my opinion, but you're just being a little bitch.
Flat Earth. Have y'all thought some shit was wrong?
Oh, I still do think some shit's wrong with you, buddy. Game didn't just come out to speak about gay people in hip-hop. DJ Vlad always coaxes these people to talk about gay people because I think he is either secretly a closet homo.
Well then, so I'm going to wrap this thing up here.
So, probably better that somebody else do it. And by the way, I reject the term cis, so I don't identify as that.
You can't reject the term cis. It is, like, if you're not cis, you can reject the term cis, but that means I can reject the term trans, and I can't because I am trans and you are cis, so stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Anti-ordinary. I've watched a few of your videos, and you're not an SJW or a regressive leftist. That's obvious, and kudos to you for your video chat with two other people where you rightly criticize Linda Salazar, the phony. That in itself is grounds for being declared a heretic by the authoritarian left. But one thing I do agree with Deconverted Man here is the term cis. He can reject that. He does reject that. By buying into the language of the intersectional feminists, you become a player in their world of invented terminology. It's presuppositional identity politics to label people something they don't identify as and ask them to argue why they shouldn't be labeled as such. It is integral to identity politics. Well, we've wasted even more time than the first 2.5 hours already devoted to this discussion, so I'll be saying bye-bye here. Feel free to discuss, argue, attack me on this reaction video in the comments below. But keep in mind, when I invite everyone to do so, it is the same spirit of debate that Deconverted Man had when he made his video. Anyone can watch and anyone can reply, so it's not always directed at you or about you or him either. Anti-ordinary. Something good has come out of this. I've had the opportunity to watch some of your videos. Never heard of you before this shitstorm, and if you're going to have a live stream with Deconverted Man, something good can come out of the discussion. Let's all form a circle and hold hands and sing Kumbaya.